Gracias por volver con nosotros. Yo soy Mario Decunto y estamos aquí en tu comunidad con Jack Meeks, que es candidato para concejal de la zona At-Large de Jacksonville, que sería para toda la ciudad. Todo el mundo que nos está mirando ahora que vive en Jacksonville, que puede votar por Jack Meeks, porque eso es lo que quiere decir At-Large. At-Large quiere decir a lo grande. And so, Jack, thank you for being on the show today.
Well, thank you.
All right, thank you. So tell me, what's a little bit of your experience that you feel makes you prepared to run for City Council? Vamos a pedirle un poquito de la experiencia que tiene Jack, que lo motiva para ser candidato para concejal.
Well, at least a couple of things. I came here right out of school, right out of college.
To Jacksonville?
To Jacksonville. It'll be 50 years ago next month, coincidentally, the same time as the election. And so I came to pursue a CPA career, which I've had over that period of time. So certainly one connection is having a financially oriented career over that period of time.
Okay.
Working with lots of different businesses, some of which have been small businesses.
Very important.
Then, in addition to that, soon to be 20 years ago, my wife and I bought a home in historic Springfield. So I got to see and experience. Perhaps you've heard that experience is a cruel but thorough instructor.
It sure is, unfortunately.
Yes, I got to really experience the differences in Jacksonville, having lived on the south side prior to that, and then moving to historic Springfield, just north of downtown.
And that was 20 years ago when you moved to Springfield?
Well, 20 years ago when we bought our home. It's an 1890s home.
Beautiful.
And we spent, these homes are really special. We spent about 2.5 years restoring it before we moved in. We never really finished, but it was good enough to move into.
Oh, good.
So it really gave me a view of a tale of two cities.
Okay.
That depending on where we live, we can have very different experiences.
Now let me give our community a little Spanish version of that.
Okay.
Jack nos cuenta que hace 50 años ya que él terminó su carrera universitaria y es ahí donde se vino a Jacksonville a vivir. Y es contador y siempre trabajó con pequeños negocios y sabe lo que es la importancia de lo que es pequeños negocios, que muchos de nuestros hispanos son dueños de pequeños negocios y él quiere enfocar en eso para ayudar a la ciudad, porque cuando hay más negocios y hay más gente yéndole bien, quieren mejorar en eso. Ahora, otra cosa que nos quiere contar es que vivió en la zona de Southside, pero después se mudó a la zona de Springfield y durante ese tiempo se dio cuenta que dependiendo de dónde vive uno en Jacksonville es una experiencia muy diferente y él quiere tratar de ayudar a balancear esas cosas. So in your experience of living in the two different zones of Jacksonville, kind of gave you an idea that if you were maybe in power, you would like to kind of help better some of those areas where you're seeing the contrast. You'd like to kind of maybe make it better for some of the folks where you're saying, well, wow, this is like two different cities, but you're in the same place, but it's a totally different experience.
Absolutely. I mean, some of it's crime, obviously, that it's hard to have a good quality of life if we have too much crime. Cleanliness is another issue. I mean, our neighborhood has improved a lot in the 20 years since we bought our home, and yet there's not a day that I can't walk outside my home and pick up trash.
Is that right?
Every day.
Always.
And the city just hasn't been committed, in my way of thinking, to keep our city as clean as it needs to be. And to a great degree, I know I've heard, we are what we eat, we are what we study or read, but I think we also are what we see. And we walk outside of our home, I think all of us innately have a sense of wanting beauty.
That's right.
And I think we have potentially a beautiful city. I heard once that this lady described Savannah years ago as a beautiful woman with a dirty face. And I think Jacksonville is sometimes that way.
Yes,
that we don't have enough pride in our city, or we don't demand enough in services from our city to just keep our city clean and present that face to both our city and to the people who are coming here.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful way to compare it because Jacksonville does have. Y sí, lo gracioso que Jack quiere enfocar en lo que es la seguridad, bajar crimen y también en la limpieza de la ciudad, porque cree que cuando una ciudad no se ve bien, tampoco no se siente bien. Y él hace la comparación que alguien había dicho de la ciudad de Savannah, en Georgia, de que es como una ciudad bella, como una mujer bella con la cara sucia. Y todos sabemos que la importancia de que son las apariencias, ¿no? And appearances, unfortunately, can affect people who may want to come and put their businesses here or maybe want to move here. They're like, well, you know, Jacksonville looks great on paper, but it doesn't look too good when you actually get here, right? And we want it to look as good as it sounds, right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, one of the things I know is that, you know, businesses look at risk reward. And to the extent the city does or doesn't do what it should do in terms of its investment in infrastructure, cleanliness, crime, and the other types of things, schools, the other types of things that go to the quality of life, then businesses aren't going to come here because the risk reward doesn't work.
That's right.
We're making it too hard for them.
Too much, yeah.
So one of the comments that I have about our neighborhoods where we haven't invested is it's not good business. It's just not good business to make it difficult for businesses to come here and prosper.
Sí, y es importante también que dice Jack que quiere enfocar en las partes de la ciudad donde se han olvidado, partes donde no se ha invertido suficiente, porque no es un buen negocio. Siendo el contador sabe que no se puede ganar en un entorno general si hay partes que no están al mismo nivel y recibiendo los mismos beneficios. So very, very important, Jack, and I think it's interesting that you mentioned, because you have that history, that knowledge of working with numbers, you know, finance. I think that you have an idea that you want to bring to the city, and it sounds exciting.
Well, and yes, working with numbers, but it comes back to people. You know,
well, yeah.
When I look at a set of financial statements, those financial statements express, depending on the size of the business, thousands or tens of thousands of decisions people have made. Do I decide to come to your restaurant and have a meal? Do I decide to come back? If I'm the business owner, how do I decide to attract and retain good employees? If I'm the employee, how do I make a decision about what I think I should have in that business? How does that business decide to participate in the community and be a good corporate citizen? Okay. So those financial statements are an expression of those
real
thousands of decisions that people are making about that business.
Es interesante que hace una analogía de cómo las decisiones de las personas, cada una de las personas de la comunidad, las decisiones que toman afectan a los números financieros de las compañías, de las empresas que están en Jacksonville. Y como cada decisión se puede ver en un papel, en lo que son los números que salen para cómo esas empresas pueden retener a empleados o perder o tener nuevos, es importante saber cómo interpretar los números y ver que hay unas grandes diferencias en lo que es, y hay no diferencias, pero similitudes en las decisiones y los números financieros. That's interesting. I never really thought how people's decisions can affect that. But Jack, I just wanted to thank you again for being on the show today. We appreciate you spending your time here with us, and we hope that our Hispanic community has gotten to know you better.
Well, thank you.
Queremos agradecerle a Jack Meeks por venir al show y bueno, ojalá que tengan una mejor interpretación de quién es Jack, para que cuando pueden votar el 6 de marzo y después el 21 ya van a tener a Jack en su mente. Muchas gracias. No se vayan, ya venimos.